there for Fight for Your Life. And I got, man, this guy is like a family member, even though he's a client. He's been a client for years, but he's like a family member. I have John Boyd, and I'll allow you to tell them the name of what your brand represents.
Absolutely. It's a quite controversial name, but
Yes.
I'm with Mulatto Munitions. Kind of started inspired by a Dick Gregory after reading a Dick Gregory book. Um,
Okay.
it's something to represent my heritage and uh, include some of my passions with firearms. So it's a fun brand, kind of in a sense a lifestyle. Um, Coming from a place of education and family life. So it's been a fun thing. Still relatively
Yeah.
new. Not haven't been in as long as you have. So taking all the notes I can from you.
Oh, right on, right on. That was my first question too. Like, explain to people how the name came to be, where it come from. Because when I first saw it, I was like, this is. I'm like, John is saying something here. I'm like,
Yeah,
John is making a statement. I know my man is a proud gun owner, and I was like,
absolutely,
I'm like, and I know what mulatto means. So I'm like, John is saying something here. So I'm glad you
absolutely.
explained that
Yeah,
to the people.
yeah. So
Yeah.
mulatto. First of all, my family, my lineage is both North Carolina and Louisiana, and so when I
Hmm.
did kind of an ancestry deep dive, I was shocked. Both my parents culturally are black. My dad is on the lighter skin side. My mom's darker skin, but we knew there was some mix, but I didn't know exactly how percentages came out. But like 54, 56% African, 44, 46% European. So ethnically
Wow.
speaking, I am mixed.
Yeah.
And my ancestor, Montgomery Boyd, he on his birth certificate had the term mulatto. And so
Mm,
that was kind of the inspiration of drawing from my family's ancestry, but also
okay.
telling my story. Ethnically, I am mixed, but
Okay.
culturally, I come from two long lines of black people. So, trying to bring that representation of my ethnic side, but also speaking as a black person who culturally grew up black. I
Yeah.
wanted to call that out and, throwing in munitions in there just because, as a gun guy, I'm not going to shy away from it. And I don't want anybody to be surprised that I am a
Yeah.
gun guy.
Yeah, yeah, I love that, man. I love that. And for those who may be watching and those who are gonna watch this later, when he had his hair, man, his hair, you could tell he mixed with something.
Yeah.
Like he got something else in there, So I relate. So it's like I always knew I was like, yeah, it's something he mixed with something.
Yeah, yeah.
But
You had as they call it, the good hair, but it curled, and
yeah.
after two boys, it was running pretty thin. So I joined the ball community over here.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm trying to hold on to all I got, man.
You got it.
But
The locks were nice.
yeah, yeah, yeah. 20 years in the making, though, it was time. It was time for a change.
Yes, sir.
But so what is like a goal you're trying to get across with Mulatto Munitions?
Yeah. So what kind of inspired all of this? So I've been a black man in a predominantly white space pretty much my entire life.
Okay.
And I had moved and operated in these white spaces, and I never shied away from who I was and where I came from. And these people were very receptive and listened to my story. But after having my two boys, I realized, I could work a dinner room, but I needed to expand my platform. And ultimately, I want to show that, our story is no different than anybody else's story, and that,
Hmm. Hmm.
listening to us speak and us talk, it's no different than anybody else talking. So, kind of my overall goal is to help, not only elevate my voice, but elevate other voices to tell our story and, help people understand their neighbor.
Yeah,
At the end of the day, you have more in common with the person next to you than you do with somebody on TV or somebody across the country. So,
yeah,
that's kind of the big pie in the sky goal for
yeah.
Mulatto Munitions.
Okay. And one thing I've admired following you since you started is just the different perspective of a black man. I mean, you see videos of people that are gun owners and everything, and but I like the family approach as well, is just putting out there a different view, man. Because I mean, as you know, these days we can open up Instagram or Facebook and we'll see all kind of violence and things of that nature, and things that people look like us are doing,
Right.
and it seems to overshadow all the good things, and it's
100%.
like people need to see a man that takes care of his family. We can be legal gun owners. We can
Yep.
go purchase guns, and we can learn how to use them. We can teach our family how to use them. We can learn how to protect our homes. I love that. I grew up learning guns since I was a child, and all kind of different weaponry. So it's like I feel that it's very important to show that different perspective and give that education. Get that education. And me and you are training, man. We talk about all kind of stuff, man. But um, to see a different perspective, and even just manhood as well, is very,
Yeah.
very important.
I think a
Mhm.
lot of my inspiration too comes from you and the conversations we'd have. You know, I would tell anybody, if you have an opportunity to train with Mark. I mean, you've been a therapist almost for the sessions that my wife and I have with you.
I
So
appreciate it, God. Because
yeah,
God is good. Thank you. I
it's
appreciate
it's
it.
it's been great. And I mean, I think having those conversations and hearing your perspectives, growing up in Chicago, but then on the flip
Mhm.
side, sorry, kids are home, so you might hear some
Yeah.
background noise there. Uh,
Oh, sorry.
but yeah, hearing your experience growing up and kind of how you've navigated life and finding that common thread that we've had similar experiences, coming
Yeah.
from some military backgrounds, but also
Hmm.
our story, it's not sensational enough, so it doesn't get advertised, it doesn't break into the algorithm. And so it's one of those
Yeah.
things of, as I'm building this brand, trying to make sure I don't let the algorithm tempt my voice, but to make sure my
Hmm.
voice is still, you know it's me, it's who I am, and to make sure I stay true to that and not necessarily try to get pulled away to attract other
Yeah.
attention.
Yeah. 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 And then my goal with doing this, we've talked about doing this for a long time, and my goal with doing this is just that people get to know the person behind the face of that brand.
Yeah.
So that's why I really, really was like, man, I love for you to get out there and then let people know like what it is you're doing, why you're doing it, and it's just important because if no one ever knows their neighbor or the other side of how their neighbor lives, man, it's like we're all gonna be in the house looking at each other, and then it
Right.
becomes the line of well, assumption, and maybe they're like this and maybe they're like that. And it's like it's 2026 and it seems
Right.
like we're going so backwards on a lot of things.
Right.
And the education is important. And then I respect the fact that you're younger than me, man. You're doing these things and these
I don't look
conversations
it
you
though.
have, and yeah.
I don't look it though, Mark. You put me to shame. I hope when I grow up I
Uh,
look like Mark.
yeah, and the conversations you have, man, to be a young man, man, it's like I love it because I did a lot of community work in my youth, and it's like to see that it still exists, that someone wants to do something positive and show a different perspective of life, and to just take a stand. Because I mean, like you said, it could attract certain attention, but it could be scary too at the same time.
Right.
Like, am I putting myself out there too much? Am I, showing the wrong things, or are these things going to bring harm or danger to me or threat to, but, just keep pushing, man. Keep pushing. I love
Absolutely.
it.
And I wanted to ask you, so you've been at this for a while. What was
Mhm.
kind of the point where you decided to flip the switch and say, hey, I'm gonna make this my baby. I'm gonna, nurture it, feed it, and watch this grow. Like, was that something that you started and then looked back and realized you were in it, or did you, from the beginning, know, hey, I'm gonna build this brand and this is gonna represent me and I'm gonna represent it.
You talking about fight for your life, or
One hundred
because
percent.
okay.
Fight for your
Um,
life. Yeah. Sorry.
yeah. So, as I do a lot of things,
Yeah.
but
Very true.
yeah, fight for your life. when it came to be in its conception, I kind of heard God tell me that I couldn't quit on this one or I
Mhm.
couldn't give up on this one. And not that I gave up on a lot of things, but I was always stagnant out of fear. So with this, it was like, okay, this is a higher message. So I gotta carry it. And it's like one of those things with that image of the soldiers planting the American flag. Is like I gotta do it, and I can't stop, and I gotta keep it going. And the first time I saw the impression it made on someone, it almost brought tears to my eyes because it was like, wow, I guess it is meant for me to do it because I have been dabbling in fashion for since I was a kid, and I wanted to be a fashion designer, and I went to school for it. Didn't work out. Stayed in a law career, but I, it was always something that I wanted to come back to, and I always wanted to have that on the fashion side and the brand side. I wanted to be like the Beatles T-shirt or a Rolling Stones T-shirt or a Wu Tang T-shirt. That when people wear that, it means something. When you
Yep.
open your drawer and you see it, it may be a day that's not good for you, or maybe a day that you feel great, but you just want to see that, like, and it's like, and I always joke and tell people you can't be a punk when you're wearing it because once you look in the mirror and see "Fight for Your Life," it's like, oh, I got to get through this day.
One
Oh, I
hundred
gotta,
percent.
keep going. I mean, I feel so good that I'm in a fight, that I'm, keeping my dukes up or whatever, figuratively, and to know that like once I said this is what I'm doing, certain things just start opening up. Like I would go to the store and people would start telling me things about their struggle, or a guy would tell me something about depression, or a guy would tell me they're going through therapy, or a guy would tell me that they lost someone to suicide, or it was just so many things. And I said, okay, this mental health thing is opening up, and I
Yeah.
can't abandon it. So I gotta do it. And it's not draining for me as much as it is sometimes what I hear,
Yeah.
kind of like, because I feel it, and it's
Yeah.
like that's the hard part.
I'm
That's the
sure
hard
of it.
part. Yeah,
I
but
I
like
oh, go ahead.
being out here and just pushing it and representing, it's like, yeah, that's fine. I can handle
Yeah.
that.
I think if I could kind of give you your flowers, I think there was a good book I read, kind of the unapologetic guide to Black mental health, and it was a
Mm,
phenomenal book. And one of the things that I didn't even think of so much in the Black community, in our community, the idea of, we can fight, we will fight for things that matter to us, but that emphasis on fighting for your life is
mm-hmm.
huge. Of, I'm someone, I've struggled with my weight. um I think I lost you. Are we
Not bad.
perfect? I struggle with my weight, and a lot of people in my community have struggled with their weight. And a part of that was realizing it was a mental health aspect of not feeling like my life was worth the fight, not worth, making those healthy decisions to make sure I can pour into myself what needs to come out. And so, I appreciate the fight for your life concept, model, all of that. I think that seed was planted before I even realized what was growing. And so I think it's
Yeah.
it's been nothing but, you know, good things for me and my family. We started working out. My in-laws got, it as a birthday gift for me probably back in 2016, 2017.
Woo, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and so, it's been almost a decade that we've been working together, and, being a parent now for the last 4 years, realizing that, my life isn't just about me. My wife, my two sons, they're depending on me to be my best self. And so, you know, fighting for them is fighting for me.
yeah,
Making sure I'm doing the right things for me.
yeah, man. It matters. It matters, and as we age, it definitely becomes more important. And you want
Yeah,
to be around, and you want to be able to run with your kids, and
right.
and when you get my age, I think we're like 10 years different. But when you get my age, it's like I'm starting to see how, man, I gotta do this because it's like I need my knees or I need my
Yeah,
back or I need my legs. And it's like just certain things, man. And as a young man, I never thought that even when I got certified and everything, I never thought that all this stuff would be so important in the future. It was
yeah,
like, I mean, I didn't even really foresee like a gym or none of that because it was just so everything was just so already there. And
yeah,
now it's like overly saturated to where you got to break it down to the foundation again. And it's different, man. It's different.
yeah,
I want to take a break and then come back in because I don't
yeah.
know if when my phone tried to update it, kicked us out.
Gotcha.
So I'm gonna go out and then come back in. So give
Perfect.
me like 2 minutes or
Gotcha.
1 minute rather. All
I
right.
said, should I hold in here or
Stream will stop immediately and nope, we're good. We're good. It's still running. I just don't see a clock. So I'm hoping that
I
we're okay.
yeah, I've got it on my end. I can see
You got a
we're
clock?
still running.
Okay, cool, cool, cool. So that's
Yeah.
good. All right. So but when it comes to now we talked about this before too, guys before you got started. Did you have any reservations about doing your podcast and your show?
Yeah.
Like, what were some of those feelings you had?
Yeah, so I think especially when you have a brand that's kind of representing on you, there's that fear. And as someone who's grown up my entire life, um, I think we're part of that last time where, as kids, we didn't have social media, but social media
Mhm.
came up through life. But I was a teenager when Facebook and MySpace and all those things were coming out. So, you
Yeah.
know, having those teenage thoughts out there and how comfortable do I feel putting my face out and taking a risk? And I think I've always been a relatively good kid. I had a good guidance early on that if your
Hmm.
grandma was going to read this, how would she feel? So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
there was just that fear of as a real person, you learn as you grow. So some old tweet I did, back in freshman year of college, will that be something that comes back to haunt me? Thankfully, all of that stuff was hacked. So I don't even know. It might still be out there, but those accesses are gone. Um, but I think, I've always felt the way I feel about the core things.
Hmm.
And so, you know, I felt very comfortable. Um, ultimately, if anything gets found, I would stand by it. I don't think I said anything bad. But
Yeah.
the other
Yeah. Yeah.
part of that is my family. And, my wife and my sons didn't ask to have the attention that I'm asking to have.
Hmm. Hmm.
And being a black man speaking on racial issues, growing up in the South, that was enough to make you a target. Um,
Yeah.
honestly, being a black person is enough to make you a target growing up in the South. And so
Hmm.
when I created Mulatto Munitions, I intentionally kind of separated my personal story in a sense of you can't log into that and see my kids. I think you can see my wife. I'm not hiding my wife
Yeah.
on that page, but it was very scary of knowing, you know, if I keep my mouth shut, I'll be comfortable. But me
Hmm.
opening up my mouth is opening up my family to any sort of attacks and things like that. So that was kind of the biggest reservation of,
Hmm.
do I pull the trigger on this and go full steam? And I flirted with the idea of staying anonymous. Um,
Yeah.
but Mulatto Munitions is my story. It's my ancestry, it's my passions. And so I am intertwined with this story that I'm telling. Um, and so when I started writing and once I started doing podcasting, it was very much this is me. I'm not hiding who I am, but I do want to have some layer of protection for my family.
Yeah. Yeah. And while we're talking about that, tell people where they can find you. Where they
Absolutely.
can find.
So the best place to find me will be Mulatto Munitions on Instagram. Uh,
Okay.
I also write on Substack, which is mulattomunitions.substack.com. And also I have a YouTube channel here, Mulatto Munitions. So um, pretty much consistently, you're going to find me on Substack. This is a hobby. I have a
Yeah.
full-time job, so I would love to post consistently. I started with, publishing videos every Thursday, but um, it'll be, if I do have a video to drop, it'll drop on a Thursday. But Instagram, you're gonna see me pretty active. And
Okay.
Substack, I got an essay coming out every Sunday. Uh, Tinkering around, probably gonna be 9 a.m. moving forward, but Sundays at
Okay.
4 have been my time to shine.
Yeah, well, I know that I've learned the key with this game is consistency. And you
Yeah,
could take a break, but when you come back, you gotta be consistent. But
100%.
and that's the social media, man. I hate social media.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, it's a beautiful, beautiful tool, and I'm I'm from a generation where I watched all these things be created, down to the new age cell phone. So it's just it's too much. It's too much, and that was like my reservation always of putting myself out there. And at the time when we were first starting to train, it's like I moved through the city a lot. So it's like I didn't
yeah,
want and when it first, like Facebook used to have that where, oh, so and so checked into this place or that place. And I'd be
yeah.
like, I don't want to know where my clients are checking into. I don't really care. It's like I
Right.
don't want to, and it's like, and then I would start to wonder, like, are they letting them know where I'm checking into? Because it's like I don't want people to know where I am at all times like that. So it was that was the rough part for me, just like having to be out there. And then one day I sat back and I realized, and I said, I I can only be a dinosaur for so long, and it's like I'm gonna age, and I just saw where things were going and moving, and I even bought like, and this was when Instagram first came out. I like found, like, is there an Instagram book for dummies? I got a Facebook one.
There
And
you
there
go.
wasn't, there was just like somebody had actually wrote one on a blog,
That's great.
and I printed that out and read it just to figure out how to work Instagram. I'm like, what do you do? I'm like, just post stuff. Like, is it, and it's definitely grown. Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff has grown. YouTube, all of it's
Yeah,
grown. So it's like now, it's kind of easy for us to utilize it as tools. And the thing is just to keep as much as your life separated, like you said. Keep
right.
everything that's special, special. I mean, you and I both have wives and children, so we may post those special occasions and the day out having fun. But it's like I try to very, very, very keep it separated. And
Yeah,
even sometimes, I don't know if you've reached this point yet, but I've had like crazy comments sometimes, and I'm from an old school, so it's like, where this dude at? Let me go talk to him.
right,
It's like
right,
I'm not the say his back type of guy. Hey, what'd you say?
right.
So, but so, and I'm learning now from other people just to, like, ignore comments on certain things, because you'll get in a rabbit hole and they'll
Yeah,
try to prove, and it's like you go back and forth and it's a waste of time. People
it
gonna feel
is.
how they want to feel, think how they want to think,
Yeah.
so.
It's kind of tough. I think the social media beast is, you got to treat it, it's a good tool, and like you were saying, I go back, I remember back when Facebook, you had to have a .edu email address
Oh
to be
yeah,
able to even
yeah, I
have an
remember that.
account. And
Hmm.
Instagram, there's all the jokes about our first pictures being crispy, deep fried pictures, where it was artsy, you just showed
Hmm.
pictures, it wasn't even, short form content or anything. And so, playing and using those tools to help amplify your message or get your brand out, it's really good, but it is dangerous. I mean, I had anonymous accounts, not on Instagram, but on Twitter, and even on True Social, to, in a sense, to antagonize people. And some of those
Hmm.
things, it was to help someone think differently and think outside the box. But sometimes it was to challenge someone for saying something, and like, you just mentally gotta be careful where you invest that energy, in a sense, because there
Yeah.
are, um, I mean, everybody's on the internet for something, and some people it's engagement. So their whole
Hmm.
thing is, I'm gonna look for the thing that would be an attack, and use that to drive that energy out of you. And so they can get
Yeah.
the clicks, they can get the likes, and they feel better knowing that they made you upset. And so it's a
Hmm.
very dangerous trap. And it's one I've been fortunate, I've been doing it in such a short amount of time that my personal page hasn't come across that, but or I should say my Mulatto Munitions page hasn't come across that.
Yeah.
But on anonymous Twitter and all of that, oh, I can't tweet, one time without
Yeah.
hearing something about me or my wife. 100%. It's a scary
Yeah.
place.
Yeah. And it's like nowadays, man, you can say something positive
Yeah.
or sad with the post, and somebody still say something negative, and it's like, and they'll be saying the same thing you're saying, just in their
Yeah.
way, and you're like, I'm saying the same thing. What are
Yeah.
you attacking me for? So it's like I say, yeah, I'm done. I just give a salute or a thumbs up or something and keep it moving when it comes to
Yeah.
certain stuff.
And I think that's the toughest thing when you realize, like, hey, it's text. They can't hear the audio, they can't hear the tone behind it. And
Mhm.
so, we're saying the same thing, but you misinterpreted it. And so,
Yeah.
I'm not about to go 5 conversations through to tell you we agree. Uh, I'm gonna have to
Yeah,
let it
man.
go.
Yeah. Now, what would you think is a way that those of us who are in this platform, what's a way we can all support each other other than, I mean, you got the follows, you got the likes, but with what I'm trying to do with this, I'm trying to get a network, so to speak,
Yeah.
so that when people know that if they're looking for your type of content, they can come there,
Yeah.
or they want to support it, or it may be a day you want to have an event, and want to be able to drive traffic to that. So, do you have like ideas, or have you thought of anything? And if not, it's fine. I mean, you got
Yeah.
time. But
You're
is
good.
there a way for us to all help each other grow? Because that's what my wheels are always spinning about.
Yeah.
And I mean, that just from what I do for a living, I'm always trying to better something and better people health.
No, it's
But
it's great. Yeah, I
mhm,
think, and especially through my journey, I'm learning. I'm still at the beginning, so I have a diverse setup in a sense of, again, I write essays, so I have an audience on Substack that may not watch my short form content,
mhm,
or I have long form content on YouTube that it's getting hard, but I'm getting better putting clips to put on like a soft or short form content like Instagram. And I think one thing that we as creators could do to help each other is to, as we expand on these platforms, figure out ways to link and drive people. My Substack audience is 26 people, and so when I
okay,
write an essay about Black mental health, shout out Fight for Your Life, give them a location to go to for follow up.
mhm,
And I think finding those different audiences. I have some phenomenal fans who I just write for whoever will read, kind of thing.
mhm.
But they'll come up to me, and it's a 60-year-old British woman, and
Yeah,
I'm not expecting that, but hearing her feedback and how she talks and understanding that she's being exposed to something that she's not familiar with, but she's
mhm,
interested in engaging. And so I think like Mr. Bibbs,
yeah,
phenomenal guy. I'm loving his content, but seeing it through your page was how I found his page. Um, and
right, right,
so
right.
finding, you know, you may have a better following on Instagram, and so using that platform to promote someone else who's on TikTok, or
Mhm.
building out. I know my weakness is that long form content, just because I'm editor, producer, I'm all these things and I'm learning.
Yeah.
Um, but doing these sort of YouTube lives help make that pool, make that draw. And I'm learning as we're talking of
Right,
how to
right,
do
right.
lives and how to do that. So I think helping with the promotion, but also understanding the different platforms that we have and utilizing those to help drive
Yeah,
people to those other spots. I think that's a great way that we could help each other grow.
yeah, yeah. I like that. And I try to, like, certain things I may post that's relative to that person's page or that person, just what their message is. I try to, uh, at you on that
Yeah.
post. That way you can see it, one. And I do a lot of more, I do a lot of like encouraging things and that nature. So it's like I try to, because I know how it is when you're doing what you're doing, man. And it's like I, started with maybe six followers, and then it's like,
Yeah.
and the world wants us to sweat that and not make that
Right.
matter. But it's like, to me, almost like it's whether it's one person or 1,000 people. It's like whoever wants the message,
Right.
and we gotta like really think to circulate each other, like you
Yeah.
said, in different platforms, because like I study all you guys. So it's like, okay, you're like you said on Instagram more here, and then your TikToks I catch at the end, the YouTubes I catch on third, but it's like I try to like keep it circulated because,
Yeah.
man, I'm sure people out there walking around who want to hear what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And it's like it's so much stuff on the internet, it's like it's overwhelming. Same thing with like the fitness arena for me. It's like I want to educate more and everything, but it's like it's so much. So what I'll do, instead of me recreating the supposed will, I may repost someone's stuff, or I may, attach it to one of my videos if their video is not too long. And that way we can kind of collab together and get it out there,
Yeah.
because it's like if someone's going to explain to you how to do a perfect squat, I'm not going to explain to you how to do a perfect squat. I'm just
Right.
going to share their video and support them, and that way they'll circulate around, because for us, it's our information that we're putting out. If
Yeah.
we help support each other through our information that we're putting out, it helps all our brands grow.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I think too, you know, especially with your content, putting good stuff, it's always tough to break into that algorithm because the algorithm wants, especially on like an Instagram, you got 3 seconds and they'll scroll. And so,
Yeah.
helping expand that audience, and I'm at that stage now where it's a lot of testing. So I'm nervous to
Hmm.
invite people to collab just because I don't know what it's gonna do to their algorithm to,
Yeah. Yeah.
have this thing that I don't even know if it's gonna work for me. And I'm starting to find success on TikTok, but that
Mhm.
content is the content that I can make, after feeding a baby and putting them down to sleep. I got
Right, right,
10
right.
minutes. But my
Yeah.
long form content is something that, I think I've written something and I have a outline that I'm gonna produce. And so that's a much bigger production. So I
Mhm.
think it's good stuff all around.
Yeah. And I would say, and I'm saying this to myself as well, let's not run from the long form stuff, man.
Yeah.
I think YouTube is the long form platform.
Yeah.
Of course, we can do shorts, but I think YouTube is a long form platform. I think the secondary long form platform is TikTok, and then we got our IG. We can do our Facebook reels, and then you could, when you put a reel on IG, it usually goes over to Facebook or vice versa.
Yeah.
But because if someone will sit and tell you, well, don't do it, long form, 1 minute, 1 minute, 1 minute, and it's like, but I watch podcasts all the time. And I
Yeah.
watch those collaborative videos of motivational things and inspire different people, the Alex Hormozy and David Goggins and Jocko Willink and, Andrew Tate. I watch all their stuff, and it's like 30 minutes,
Yeah.
or old movie clips, inspiring movie clips. It's like those things are like 30 minutes to an hour. And I watched the interview the other day with Matthew McConaughey. It's like 2 hours. And I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and it's like you may have to stop. I put it on when I'm washing dishes or something or cooking. And I may have to stop, pick it back up in the morning. But it's like, yeah, and I still want to hear the whole thing.
Right.
And for everyone who says break everything down, it's like that Cat Williams interview was like, how it's like close to 3 hours, and
Yeah.
that made Shannon Sharp explode. So it's like I don't want, it's like it's good for us to do shorts, and we could do long form and then break it down. But I think finding the right social media where shorts work or
Yeah.
reels work, and then maintaining that long form as well, because you're gonna have some people that's gonna want more of you. Oh man,
Right.
I want to hear more what he's talking about. let me, oh man, where's the rest of it? Because sometimes I'll see a short, a pre-short as they call it, for a long form. I'm like, man, where's the rest of this
Yeah,
interview? Gotta hear the rest of this. And so I don't want those of us who have good content to like
right.
start following that trend of cut it, cut it, cut it, cut it. It's like putting shorts out for promotion is good, or marketing is good, and putting it on the platform like IG is great. But like, let's keep them long form, because
Yeah,
that content is good, man. Because it was, I can't remember which one you did, man. It was one you did. I want to say you were talking about your family history or something. And man, I was like, oh, I'm like, where's the rest of this? Where's the rest of this?
you're
And
great.
I had to like find it, and I found it on TikTok, and I was like, oh man. And then it ended, and I was like, oh, I got to find the rest of this. And so
Yeah,
it's like I try to, like, when I start it, I'll try to finish it unless something, how the phones kick your videos out or whatever.
right,
But
right.
I try to finish everything I start.
Yeah, that I think so. I've joined a podcast. Sorry, I'm a bitch, and apologies if anybody's listening that doesn't like
No,
cussing.
no, no. Yeah,
Uh,
definitely promote that too.
there we go. But yeah, I'm in a bigger podcast that my co-host Kaylee's been doing this for years, and we're having that discussion now of the algorithm is pushing you towards a short form content. That's what the beast wants to be fed in a sense.
Hmm.
And so it is
Hmm.
kind of discouraging. You film a long production and you only get 8 views, but you put in a short thing and it gets pushed out to 1,000 people. But it is one of
Hmm.
those things of, and especially, I've got 10 subscribers on YouTube, and that is I love that group of 10. Those people show up consistently for me. Those people have encouraged me. And so it's one of those things that I keep in mind. I'm talking to 10 people, and they're
Hmm.
sweet, they're kind. I don't know who most of them are. I think YouTube makes it anonymous unless that person allows it. And so like,
Yeah.
understanding who your audience is, I think helps motivate me to continue to do that long form content. And these are stories that I want told. I don't want to hold on to these things and experiences, and even some of the experiences that I've forgotten that other people have reminded me about. Um, there's a lot of nuance. It's life's not white and black. There's a lot of gray in a lot of different places,
Hmm.
and so you know, back to where we were talking about misinterpreting. So you could do. I think it used to be like 160 characters on Twitter, but like that's not enough to say who you are, to say where you're coming from
Yeah.
and what perspective. And so having that long form content to walk through, I've experienced racism and I know that it's formed calluses here, but let me give you the full
Mhm.
detail because if you were in my position, you might feel the same way I do. Or you could draw that you know, you could draw the clues from what I'm saying to understand why I believe the things that I do and how someone could logically think differently than your own experience. And so that long form content's great. I love it. That's where I feel like the meat and potatoes is
Yeah, yeah,
for
yeah.
everybody.
Yeah. And then, man, I mean, you just starting, but brother, I think I had maybe 10 subscribers for like months, man. See, if Mr. Bibbs is watching, everybody can't be like him. This dude churned out like 1,000 in like 3 months.
Yeah,
Like, I was like, what? Like, what? But it's like, and I did. I would thank those people when it became 10. I thank those
yeah,
people when it was 20. I thank the people when it was like 30. When it got to that first 100, I thanked everybody. Made a little post for, and when it and I looked up one day, I was like, wow, it's 300 people. Like, okay, and then someone was commenting saying, man, I really like your content, man. I appreciate what you do. And I was just like, oh God, it was just like, and I can't imagine those people who get like millions and like,
yeah,
and they're like, wow, and it's like like you said, I kind of want to be respectable and make sure I'm putting positive things out and
right.
whatever post got that like or whatever video got that attention. I want to make sure that I'm thanking those people and so it becomes a business. It's just that we have
Yeah,
to. build it for it to stay, relevant, and one day maybe
Yeah.
even put us out of work.
Yeah, and that's I think it's exciting of sharing those milestones with people and
Mm,
understanding. It doesn't take much for them to like a video, but it means the world when
yeah.
they are willing to put their name next to and associate with something
Mm,
that I've created, something I've built.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and it's fun. I think I think what's tough. A lot of people don't want feedback, and I think you can't be in this industry in this arena and not be prepared for feedback. Um,
Mhm.
but it is, I mean, these are the people that if anybody's going to give me feedback, I would want these people at this stage to tell me,
Yeah.
hey, John, you need to work on this, you need to clean that up. Um,
Yeah.
and like, again, these are the day ones. So it's for me definitely a fun time. Definitely.
Yeah. Now, what's the thing behind? Is it sorry I'm a bitch? What is it again?
Yeah. So and again, I'm guest hosting. I love the voice. So sorry I'm a bitch is primarily a feminist podcast.
Okay.
And we started a new series for this season called The Joyful Revolution. And it's geared more towards
Mm,
politics. Um,
mm,
but we are still Kaylee is damn near a neighbor. So we live in the
okay.
same community. We have similar beliefs, but she's a little bit further left than I am. I'm a little bit more moderate. Um,
Okay.
but how we navigate life, she's married with a daughter, and I'm married with two boys,
Mm,
and how our lives overlap, how they are different. She's a white woman, I'm a black man, and so
okay.
navigating some of these different situations. Um, we have an episode coming out in a couple weeks that I'm excited about about traveling, um,
Okay.
and so the previous seasons I would encourage anybody to watch. It's covers a wide range of topics, but it's primarily focused on the female experience.
Okay.
Um, and as we've gone with this Joyful Revolution series, getting a little more into politics, we've interviewed a couple. Um, we have an interview with Indiana state senator who's running for U.S. Congress. In a few weeks, we are set up to interview a Indianapolis city councilman. So pretty excited about that. We're working on the one of the mayor candidates. Um,
Okay.
very exciting stuff to come, but we also talk about different things. And it's been fun. Where she's been doing this a lot longer than I have, so it's great
I would
to work
love, I
with.
would love to be a guest on that because
Yeah,
I studied politics. My minor was poli sci, so it's like I would love to like. I got such a breakdown of where politics is supposed to be, where it
yeah,
should be, and the reason why it isn't that way. But I'm definitely not going to do a post about it. I will save that for you guys if you want me to be on the
you're
show.
great. You're great. Yeah, we've got so much for this season, but we might next season we might have to get a Mark guest appearance on there.
Yeah.
And it's fun. I mean, it's local stuff, so you might be able to tip your hand of what's going on your side in Indiana, or
Okay.
any Chicago stuff that you might dabble in. Absolutely.
Yeah. I would say if I would give one tip, I would say keep going, stay consistent, and don't stop thinking of ways to get yourself out there.
Yeah.
Um, that's key. What you're doing already is just awesome. The pictures or videos at the range, I mean, it's pretty awesome. Um, if you're able to explain, what you're doing, or even talk about, your mission or who you are, before you get started at the range or after, I think that'll pull more um, people your way. Uh, and then just the importance of who you are from your perspective, what you think of protecting what you have.
Yeah.
We talked about it here, the importance of keeping our family protected from social media, but just the importance of a young man being a gun owner and what it takes to protect your home and your family. Because I
Yeah.
think being when I work security or something in Chicago, something else I do, or when you go somewhere, people always say, "Oh, I got a gun card, I got a gun card," but it's like that. Yeah, but I've also been at the door when I've had to look in women's purses. You can barely find your ID. You got
Yeah.
to shuffle for this and for that. But it's like, so when it comes to protection and safety, people need to know how to do it properly to where they can really
Yeah.
protect and secure themselves. And men as well. I mean,
Yeah.
men are pretty quick on the draw when it comes to, carrying a gun, even if it's tucked in their waistband and not in the holster. But even still, I think it's still that blind spot of, well, do I keep it locked up, and do I do this, or do I,
Yeah.
it's still this blind spot of, people needing suggestions of, well, maybe you want to do this way.
Yeah.
I don't know, and we got to definitely get that disclaimer. Well, I don't know how your state law is, but
Right. Right.
but
I'm not a lawyer, but yeah.
right, right. But in
Yeah.
reality, I think you only got about a good 10 seconds once you hear your door kicked in to get to what you got to get to
Right.
protect your home, and also, I mean, we can circle back and do a show just about security and protection because guns are, a part of your home base, but then there's
Yeah.
other weapons that people can use in their home. So, we can piggyback around, do another show on that.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm definitely in. I think I will never tell anybody, I'm not going to teach them tactics. I'm not
Yeah. Uh-oh. Think I lost you. I lost you on the hearing.
the white
Uh,
calling me. I might have to tap out here.
yeah,
I'm
that's fine. That's fine.
getting called. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, before you go, let people know where they can find you,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna definitely put it in the description. So
Perfect. Appreciate it. Yeah. So again, I'm John from Mulatto Munitions. You can find me at on Instagram at Mulatto Munitions. I do a lot of writing on Substack and mulattomunitions.substack.com. Or if you just type up Mulatto Munitions on YouTube, you'll find my channel. So that's where you guys can find me. Definitely appreciate you spending this time with me, Mark.
yeah,
Loving the brand, loving what you're doing. Excited to see where this goes.
yeah, man. The goal is all the way, man. If I get that
Absolutely.
FFYL jet, y'all will be on it.
There
you,
we go.
Lucy, and the boys.
That's perfect. We're
Oh,
in.
I can't forget Taven and Leslie.
You're great.
Yeah,
TNL.
but all right, man.
Absolutely.
Love you, man. Fight for your
Yep.
life, and we will. I guess I'll see you tomorrow if
Perfect.
everything
Yep.
goes.
Working out. Love you too, Mark.
All right,
Have a good one.
all right. Two.
All right. Bye.
Bye.